Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel, Masses32210. Here's what we're doing today. We're out here in nice sunny hot Fernandina Beach, Florida. We come across more parts for that sand rail that I shot the last video on. For any of y'all have not seen it, it's called the Nightmare Road Trip, new project. What we're doing today, we're going to be dissecting a 72 Super Beetle for its e-brake assembly, the tunnel that it's hooked to, the just small portion, and we're going to be getting the torsion with the transmission and axles. Give me a sec, let me get it set up guys, and we'll show you how to deconstruct one of these. Alright guys, for y'all that's not familiar with these, this is the Super Beetle front end, or I'm sorry, Super Beetle frame, and the reason is, if you notice, it's got a different style head. Normally, you'll have the little hump right there, and you'll have like a piece kind of looks like this, which will actually grab your front end. Whether older styles, the link pin, king pin, or the newer style is normally your ball joint, which is what my buddy has on his rail. This is the Super Beetle front, which what made it special was it actually had McPherson struts on there. Also, being the Super Beetle, I'm not sure if it's the newer years or just Super Beetle only, they had a dual master cylinder on this style. Alright, what we're getting ready to do is what I want. Let's get it focused up here. What I want is that e-brake assembly. I want to cut the tunnel right there and right behind it, and we're going to actually take that piece and weld it onto that frame. And the other pot of gold that I'm going after is, let's see, we zoom out just a hair. That whole torsion, that's what holds the torsion inside of it. So what we're going to do is going to get snipped right there, but inside of this tunnel, which you got to watch out for, you got a bunch of little tubes, throttle line, clutch line, e-brake, the e-brake cables run inside there and also in their tubes. Cutting straight down, you're gonna, if you do it with a sawzall, you gotta be very careful because you will snag those tubes on the inside. The only thing I'm trying to do is save the tubes for the e-brake because I want to be able to reuse them on that rail so we can have an actual e-brake assembly like I did my rail. Alright guys, give me a second and I might get my fellow YouTuber Big Gun 7777 out here on this camera while I work. Alright guys, here's what I've done so far. If you notice, this whole part of the pan I've cut it out because, like I said, all I'm trying to do is get down to where I can separate this tunnel from the forward part. I'm not really showing all the cutting because it's just tedious, not really tedious, but it's just a pain in the butt. Not trying to save, if anybody knows about these, when you're replacing the pan, there's about 100 little spot welds all the way down. Where this curves down, there's a ½ inch slip that pan actually rests on, and factory, it's probably over 100 easy little tack welds all the way down. But we're not actually trying to save that. That's why I'm just snipping the floor on each side, getting rid of that so I could just come through and just make my final cut to remove this front end from the back. This is where it's going to start getting fun. I got that side to do. When I get back on camera next, I should have the parts we're looking for is on that back end. That's when I'll actually cut that torsion loose, being careful, then sectioning out that little piece I need, and I probably might actually record getting the right there where that coupler's at. I'll probably actually record cutting it out, so the ones of y'all that go to salvage yards or scavenging these old rear ends for sand rails or different projects, you kind of have an idea what I'm doing. Alright guys, now about 1,000,000 degrees later and sweating about 10 buckets of water out of our bodies, finally got this done. This heat out here is a killer today. Alright, now if you notice, let's zoom in a little bit more. If you notice now, the whole back pan, that center tunnel is the frame to the Beetle. Those floors are like paper thin. Yes, I used to Flintstone mold 74. It's a hell of a way to drive. I mean, rain and water and cold weather, yeah, I had perfect AC in the wintertime. Shit, even the heat in the summertime, it all had it in that Beetle. Alright, getting back on subject, let's see, get this thing a little closer. Sorry for the shakiness. Alright, where are we at? Now, since if you notice, this is the center tunnel going back, this is the torsion. This is the part we need, and I need this little area. What I'm going to do right now is go ahead and sever this. Right about here is where I'm going to cut it. If you're getting just the rear torsion out, what you're going to look for is, this is right there's I don't know, forgot the terminology. It's the nose cone to the transmission is right there. That's where the shift coupler would hook up. If you're going to section one of these for a sand rail, you're going to want to cut right there where that VIN number's at. Come across and just do a rough cut. When you rough cut it, then you'll have a chance to come back and finish cut it. And what you're going to do, that's the main torsion. You're going to kind of cut it even kind of even right there, right where my finger's at. Cut it all the way across. And like I said, keep in mind, there are little tiny tubes that are going to run inside here. And as soon as I section this, you'll start seeing some. Because what I'm going to do is initially snip it here, here. And eventually I'm going to be very careful and try to snip it back here somewhere. Give me a second, guys. I'll be right back. Alright guys, let me see. I'm trying to make sure this is going to show up. What I was talking about earlier, what you have to be careful about, if you notice here on the outside, this is your rear brake. This is your rear brake line, I'm sorry. This carries the fluid from the master cylinder all the way back to the T. And this is kind of giving you an idea of how the tunnel is set up. Clutch, fuel, throttle, I believe is how it goes. So this is really everything you see is right there. It goes all the way back to that torsion and where the coupler hooks up. As you can see now, this is done. What I'm going to do is, because starting right back here is going to be 2 more tubes that go back for the rear brake. So what I'm going to do is, just like mine, I'm going to snip it right here at the bottom. So I have basically a C or a clamshell, I guess you'd call it, or something. Snip it along here, snip it here, and take this section out and set it aside. Alright guys, well, here is the e-brake assembly. If you notice, turn it this way a little bit please. If you notice how it's shaped, you have the side, goes to the top, comes back to the side. And the reason for all that is, that's the flat plate. Let me get you in closer. So if any of y'all are working on these, now you understand this is how exactly it looks. There's all the mess of tubes, e-brake, fuel line, clutch line, throttle, heaters, they're all in there. But technically this is all I needed, and Mr. Where you go, there we go. That's the part I needed. That houses the actual e-brake handle. I'll clear all that mess of tubes out, straighten it up, fix it up once we get to the shop, and go from there. Now comes the fun part. Now my only goal is to section this piece off and get the transmission with its with this whole torsion out, and remove the rest of this junk metal, and we're out of here. This is the last part. It takes approximately, say, about 2 hours max, depending on if you know what you're doing versus not. Alright guys, give me a little bit and you should see hopefully a sectioned up piece. Alright, here we go. Come on, Mr. Big Gun. Show off the muscles. Alright guys, this is the pain in the behind. Right now, we just rough section this, I want to salvage some of them tubes for the e-brake assembly. And yes, they are tack welded. We're going to have to probably cut them internally. But this is what we got done so far. Give me a second, let me help my buddy out here. Look at that little rocker on the side-to-side action. It's got this little clip that kind of comes off the side, goes and does this U-shape, and it holds those that tube and that tube in place. So but now it's all done. When we get it back to the shop, which if anybody's kept up my channel, you'll notice it by the shop logo, Chop Shop Customs. That's when I'll do the final cleanup on this, getting rid of this excessive metal. We'll get rid of this, clean all this up, get it closer to torsion, clean up the frame horns on this back side, and this will be ready to weld in. Is there anything else we got to film, or this is going to be it? Probably going to be it. Guys, this is it. Hey, I appreciate y'all watching. Thumbs up. Hey, we just sweated buckets. I just told you it was 1,000,000 degrees out here. Keep that in mind. Hey, thumbs up, guys. Thank you so much. Hey, guys. Well, this clip is, I inserted it in. It's later in the day. It's probably 3-4 hours later than when I done all that work. Me and my fellow YouTuber went and got something to eat, kind of relax, recuperate from all the heat, and I got home, went ahead and finished trimming this up, and you can kind of get an idea of how it's done. Everybody has a different style, how they like to cut all this. This is what I did for him, right in front of this little half moon plate. I just chopped everything nice and neat. If you notice, the tubes are all still full length. Actually, I think I ended up cutting about 1 inch of these tubes off, but these steel cables were pulled all the way back through to the rubber line. Let's get you a side shot here. You notice this is how this one is done. It's all cut, ready to go. I might just trim that a hair up there, kind of give it the same little curve. Things like that bother me, but everything else otherwise symmetrical. So, you know, when I built my rail, wasn't into YouTube. It took me 5 years to build it because I was procrastinating on a lot of it. But I'm just, you know, trying to pass the knowledge off to, you know, to other YouTubers or fellow human beings, you know, just show everybody how it's done. But now at least I got it set up. I have the driver's side rear emergency brake, passenger side, that's the clutch line, throttle line. They're all there, so I can hook up to here and run stuff back, and it's already pre-ran. So that's kind of helping out my buddy. Just a final shot of everything. It's all completely cut out of a 71 Super Beetle. I'm sorry, 72. It's not a bad deal. I ended up getting the steel cables for the e-brakes. We got all that. The torsion housing, both axles, transmission, starter, the VIN plates, titles, e-brake assembly, pedal assembly, and I believe that's it for $350. So this project would definitely be on its way, so me and my fellow YouTuber can go riding around. We'll be creating videos on the roadway and off-road. Alright guys, on to the next clip.